What if the most terrifying creatures in the Bible were never meant to be monsters? What if Leviathan, what if Behemoth, were not symbols of chaos but records of absence? Imagine a world where these legendary beings weren't myths to be feared, but keystone species whose extinction reshaped Earth itself. What if their disappearance left invisible scars still affecting our oceans, our land, and our climate today? Welcome to Echoes from Eden, where ancient scripture meets modern ecology, and forgotten giants whisper clues about the planet we inherited. Forgotten giants, a new lens on ancient lore. For centuries, biblical beasts were framed as dragons, demons, or divine metaphors. But ancient texts were not written as fantasy novels. They were observations, warnings, and memories encoded in poetic language. What if Leviathan and Behemoth weren't invented creatures, but exaggerated descriptions of animals already fading from human memory? Across cultures, when massive species vanished, stories remained. The question is not, did these beasts exist exactly as written? The question is, what real creatures inspired these descriptions, and what happened when they disappeared? The echoes of extinction. Ancient Hebrew and Aramaic text describe creatures with startling specificity: habitat, strength, diet, environmental dominance. Leviathan is tied to the sea, uncontrollable, immense, untamable. Behemoth is bound to land, plant-eating, earth-shaking, immovable. Modern scientists studying the Pleistocene extinction see a pattern. When megafauna vanished, ecosystems collapsed. Mammoths gone, grasslands changed. Giant predators gone, food webs unraveled. Ocean giants lost, nutrient cycles broke. What if the Bible preserved echoes of these ecological turning points, not as data, but as memory? Architect of the ancient oceans. Strip away the flames and poetry, and Leviathan begins to look less like a monster and more like an apex marine force. Imagine a colossal ocean predator, massive enough to influence migration patterns, powerful enough to reshape food webs, long-lived enough to become legendary. Today, whales fertilize oceans. Their movement circulates nutrients. Their presence stabilizes marine ecosystems. Now imagine something even larger or rarer. When such a creature disappears, prey populations explode, nutrient cycles weaken, ocean balance shifts. Could Leviathan represent a lost oceanic keystone species, not evil, but essential? The terror wasn't its existence. The terror was its absence. The land that walked. Behemoth is described as peaceful yet unstoppable. A plant-eater, a force of terrain. This mirrors what we know about extinct mega-herbivores. Mammoths, giant ground sloths, massive prehistoric grazers. These animals shaped landscapes by clearing vegetation, compressing soil, creating fire, resistant ecosystems. When they vanished, forests grew dense, wildfires intensified, soil chemistry changed. Behemoth may not have been a monster, but a land engineer, a walking ecosystem. When it disappeared, Eden didn't fall overnight. It eroded. The ecological void. Keystone species don't just vanish quietly. Their absence echoes. Modern ecosystems suffer similar collapses. Coral reefs without predators, forests without grazers, oceans without whales. The Bible describes a world after the giants, a world more fragile, more hostile, more unstable. Perhaps those stories weren't warnings of divine wrath, but records of ecological imbalance, cryptids, fossils, and memory. Across cultures, myths follow extinction. Dragons, giants, sea serpents. As generations pass, memory turns symbolic. What starts as an animal becomes a legend. What starts as loss becomes fear. Cryptids may not be creatures hiding today, but ghosts of biodiversity past. Our modern reflection. We are now living through another extinction era. Species vanish faster than stories can form. There will be no legends, only silence. Echoes from Eden ask us, what stories will remain of us? Will future generations describe vanished animals as myths, or recognize them as warnings ignored? Final chapter. Listening to the echoes. The Bible ends Eden with exile. Ecology ends Eden with imbalance. Different languages, same truth. Leviathan and Behemoth may never return, but their lesson remains. When giants fall, the world feels it forever. The echoes are still here. The question is, are we listening?